Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thanks so much for tuning in here. Monday, May 19th. The Jaguars will be taking the field today in front of the media. We'll be out there a little bit later today with OTAs, which is exciting. Obviously, we had rookie minicamp where fans and media were able to go out and see the energy, the juice that Travis Hunter brings and see some of the other young guys. But now you'll see veterans and the rookies. And speaking of rookies, we are going to be taking a look today, a little bit deeper dive into Jonah Monheim, the 7th round pick by the Jaguars in this past 2025 NFL draft. We've been rolling through all the rookies that they drafted. We're now to the 7th round. We've got 2 picks left. We've got Jonah Monheim and we've got LeQuint Allen. I'm excited about both of these picks for what they are. I think that when you're talking about a 7th round player, expectations probably should be capped a little bit. If they were a prospect that teams really valued at an extremely high level, they would have been taken earlier. There are certain positions that you can make exceptions with that. I think running back is certainly one of them because of the depth of the running back class this year specifically, but also just generally speaking, running back, teams wait on it. And you see a lot of good guys coming out of day 3 and undrafted free agency at the running back position. So we can talk about that more when we get to LeQuint Allen. But right now we're talking about Jonah Monheim, who is a center prospect out of USC. Was very exciting for Tony Boselli to give him that call on day 3 of the draft. Tony Boselli, former Trojan, former Jaguars, second overall pick, now the EVP. He was fired up to be able to call Jonah Monheim and tell him he's coming to Jacksonville. But Monheim is 6'4". These are his combine numbers: 6'4", 302, 30 and 1/8 inch arms, 9 1/4 hands. The 30 and 1/8 inch arms is what I wanted to really look at here, not because we're reverting back to our Trent Baalke way of evaluating things, but that is like historic on the low end. So one thing to know, the combine this year, the arm length measurements were wildly inaccurate. You saw guys' arms shrinking by like half an inch or more from the Senior Bowl to the combine, and then maybe at pro days as well. You saw the arm length being a little different. Now, they have him at 30 and 1/8 here at the combine. At the USC Pro Day, they had 30 and 1/2. And at Senior Bowl, just got to pull that up real quick. They had 30 and 5/8. So I think it's fair to say, it's about 30 and 1/2 inches, which is still historically low. Now, on the interior of the offensive line, you're not required to have that like 33-inch plus arm length the way you are at offensive tackle. It helps. Length does help if you're able to use it because A, it helps you make first contact. B, it helps you sustain, helps you keep guys off your chest. I mean, there's so many reasons, right? So that's the one area you'll look at with Jonah Monheim and you're like, a little sketchy. That's probably a big part of why he fell all the way to the 7th round, because his tape is better than 7th round tape. And we'll talk about that here. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. So again, 30 and 1/2 inch arms is pretty crazy, pretty wild. But you look at what Jonah Monheim has done throughout his career. He played for the last 3 years before 2024. He was playing left tackle for USC. With those shorter arms, he was playing left tackle and doing a pretty damn good job out there in space and pass protection. Then this past year converts into center. I'm not sure like how that conversation went. If it was like Monheim needs to get inside so he can have a chance at the next level because no one's drafting a tackle that has 30-inch arms, right? I don't know exactly what it was, or if USC just had like a younger guy they really wanted to get out there at left tackle. I'm not sure why that would have been the case with how good Mannheim was playing out there at the college level. So I'm not sure. I'm not privy to that. But this past year, converted inside to center, 16 pressures allowed, efficiency of 98.4%, 2 penalties on him. And I mean, considering you're switching positions, that I would say that pass rush efficient or pass protection efficiency, and then only having 2 penalties, pretty impressive overall. When I watch Jonah Monheim play, I'm really impressed with the movement. He moves like kind of how you would expect a left tackle to move, like with that athleticism you expect to see from that position. Whether he's moving laterally or he's trying to move very explosively to get lateral and then get upfield. And I kind of, when I'm sitting here watching him, I'm thinking about, well, we know Liam Cohen loves the screen game, getting guys on the move. If you can get Jonah Monheim in a offense where you're wanting him to play in space and get on the move a lot more often than just sitting there and trying to win in a phone booth, I think that's really the way you want to play with him. Get him out in space. Now, the Jaguars, they do have obviously Robert Hainsey, who's coming in here to start this year at center, and they still have Luke Fortner as well, who has experience with Liam Cohen. I would probably say there's going to be legit competition for Jonah Monheim. I don't think they draft him and they're like, oh, he's on the roster for sure. Again, the length is a major issue that does show up. So does the just strength throughout his frame overall. I think there's times where he's going up against a 320-pounder who's almost just as athletic as him, and that's difficult. I think there's times where even guys that are more of the 3-tech types, when he gets matched up with them one-on-one, they can put a quick move on him right at the point. And maybe that's something where more experience at center would really help him out. But I do think he needs to improve his strength overall. He can't improve the length, the arm length, unfortunately. That's just, that is what it is. But again, I'm thinking about him and if you can be in an offense where you're limiting the exposure to the center having to play in one-on-one situations in a phone booth, and you're allowing him to get more space to work with, that could be, if you can do that, I mean, Jonah Monheim has a path to playing time in the NFL, I think. Just because, again, the athleticism is really good. The footwork is really good. The hand placement, once he gets them to you, is very good. I think when you talk about one of the difficulties sometimes that tackles converting inside have is how quickly things happen off the snap. I think that was at times an issue for Jonah Monheim. You are operating in where it's the snap happens and you're immediately trying to make contact. And that's just not the case at tackle as much. It's not. You're kind of setting things up for a moment. Inside, you have no time to breathe. You have no time to think. And so maybe more time inside would benefit him. But there was moments where certainly he just lost immediately. You saw Mason Graham get him. But Mason Graham got a lot of folks. So there's development that needs to take place still as an interior player, but you definitely get excited about the movement skills. You get excited about he finishes. He plays through the whistle. He's looking for work downfield. I like his target lock downfield. I kind of always phrase it that way, like his ability to lock on to a linebacker, a safety, a corner, whatever it may be, and actually make some decent contact, solid contact. A lot of offensive linemen out there in space, they don't have the movement skills, right, to consistently make an impact there, but he does. So that's pretty cool. The other thing I really loved about him on tape was every single time I saw somebody jump on the defensive side of the ball, immediately that ball gets out of his hands so they can get that penalty and then try to take a shot downfield. And I think the coordination between him, Miller Moss, the quarterback at USC, and obviously the coaching there, I thought that was really strong. And I loved that, again, at very, very low penalties, only 2 penalties this year on Jonah Monheim from the interior of the offensive line. So that's the good stuff. Again, you're worried about the length. You're worried about just kind of the experience and strength on the interior. But if you can create an offense where that center is operating in space more often and also not having to go one-on-one super consistently and having to win like right there at the snap at the point of attack, you can have a situation where he potentially finds the field. And again, Liam Cohen, that screen game, I think that Monheim can help out in that regard, but it's going to be an uphill battle because Hainsey's obviously on the team. Luke Fortner's more experienced in the NFL. He has played in a Liam Cohen offense before, so that's going to be something to monitor. Could he potentially play at guard? Again, I think that you get more isolated reps at guard, which makes it difficult, and you do at least have the baseline of some versatility with Jonah Monheim, but he's going to have to fight to make this roster. And if he doesn't make it, I think there's a good chance he can stick around on the practice squad and continue to develop, because I just think, again, a lot of teams are not going to be looking to bring in somebody with this physical profile. But the Jaguars found some value in it, and I hope he's able to improve the overall competition on the back end of the roster at center. And potentially, again, if this Liam Cohen offense operates in a manner where it highlights Monheim's actual positive skills that he brings, which are very positive, he could potentially find the field. So that's where I'm at with Jonah Monheim, 7th round pick out of USC. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe, and we will be having a post OTA recap of everything that I see out there today. So be sure to be looking for that later on. Thank y'all so much for being here. Have a good one.